haven't even gone through the instructions yet.
Well, you
Can I finish this?
get my hand up.
Okay, good. All right. Pursuant to the order reference of October 1, 2025, the committee is meeting to continue its clause-by-clause study of Bill C-9, an act to amend the criminal code, hate propaganda, hate crime, and access to religious or cultural places. Today's meeting is taking place in a hybrid format pursuant to the standing orders. Is there anybody on? There's nobody on Zoom. Okay, so I'm going to skip that then. I'd like to make a few comments for the benefit of witnesses and members. Please wait until I recognize you by name before speaking. For those participating by video conference, click on the microphone icon to activate your mic. Reminder that all comments should be addressed through the chair. And then I would like to welcome our witnesses from the Department of Justice. We have Chantal Ramcharan, Deputy Director General, General Counsel, Criminal Law Policy Section, and Joanna Wells, Team Lead and Senior Counsel, Criminal Law Policy Section. So we are continuing the debate on Mr. Lawton's sub-amendment to Madame Latanzio's amendment. And then when we are done with those two, we will go back to Mr. Brock's sub-amendment to CPC 8.1. So where we left off was the amendment proposed, the sub-amendment proposed by Mr. Lawton. And what I'm going to do to start is, because at the end of the meeting, Mr. Housefather and Mr. Babber had both made some submissions on whether it was admissible or not. There was a lot going in the room, and I wasn't able to hear everything clearly. So what I'm going to do is ask both of you to repeat what you said on Monday to start. So I'll start with Mr. Housefather, and then I'll go to Mr. Babber.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Chair. So basically what occurred on Monday, feels like forever ago, was that Ms. Latanzio proposed an amendment that would clarify the state of the law with respect to when you would not be charged with willful promotion of hate. And Mr. Lawton had proposed a sub-amendment to remove the last part of the sentence, if they do not willfully promote hatred against an identifiable group by communicating the statement. That was the sub-amendment. What my representation, Mr. Chair, was, and in the event you rule this in order, I'll have substantive arguments against the sub-amendment by Mr. Lawton. In the normal course, simply removing words from an amendment would be a perfectly legitimate sub-amendment. But in this case, what Mr. Lawton is proposing to do would not be valid because it goes completely against the intent of both the amendment of Ms. Latanzio and the bill. So it could not have been proposed as an amendment in a standalone basis, and let me explain why, Mr. Chair. Ms. Latanzio's amendment was clarifying the law when someone could not be prosecuted. Mr. Lawton's sub-amendment changes the law. Mr. Lawton's sub-amendment would essentially mean that anybody could communicate a statement on a matter of public interest, including an educational, religious, political, or scientific statement made in the course of a discussion, publication, or debate, and then not be charged with willfully promoting hate, even if they were not in good faith under the Keekstra case. And as such, Mr. Lawton's amendment changes the state of the law, and it changes the intent of the bill, because the intent of the bill was to give greater protection to minority groups targeted, and Mr. Lawton's amendment would essentially do the reverse. It would create a new state of the law, and I'm sure you can clarify that with the officials. It would create a new state of law, and that way, Mr. Chair, I don't believe that it is a valid sub-amendment. I think there's other ways of phrasing this that would be more palatable. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Housefather. Mr. Babber.
Thank you. I think Mr. Housefather's submissions spoke to the admissibility of the amendment. There's nothing precluding us from amending the law. There's nothing precluding us from amending the bill. That is the entire reason we are here. I'll start very briefly with the fact that the amendment cannot be ruled out of order if it basically seeks to delete, the sub-amendment, if it basically seeks to delete a portion of the proposed amendment. This is precisely what a sub-amendment is meant to do. I think Mr. Housefather's concern is more of a substance and policy. I actually don't agree with Mr. Housefather that the deletion of the last line and a half would not be in line with the intent of the bill or the criminal law as it is now or will become should this bill pass. But that is a substantive argument that my friend is making. And as such, I kindly ask that you allow the amendment to be in order.
Thank you. I'm going to ask the officials if they have any comment on this, not on the procedural component, but on, I'd like you to address Mr. Housefather's point on whether this changes in substance the nature of the amendment with respect to the bill.
I can speak quickly to that. It would change the substance of the proposal.
All right, thanks. Look, I've reflected on this over the last couple of days. I mean, my job at this point is to determine whether it is procedurally admissible. I've listened to Mr. Housefather, I've listened to Mr. Barber, I've discussed it with the officials, and I'm going to rule that it is admissible. So we will proceed on debate on the sub-amendment. We'll start a new speaking list.
Point of order.
Mr. Lawton.
Just hearing Mr. Housefather's concerns on this and having reflected on it as well, if the purpose of what the Liberals are seeking to do through Ms. Latanzio's amendment is truly to send a signal that religious texts and the expression of religious sentiments will be protected, I can propose an alternative by which the sub-amendment would be withdrawn. If there is unanimous consent, this is what I'm seeking, withdraw the sub-amendment and undo the adoption of BQ3. Reinstate the religious defense as is, and we have the perfect clarity that the law needs. Okay.
I will ask the question.
Sorry, I see Liberals laughing at religious freedom, so I guess that's a no to unanimous consent.
Mr. Lawton, hold on, everybody, please.
If you want clarity, it would give clarity. That was the.
I don't think the commentary about interpreting other people's physical expressions is necessary or an accurate reflection. I will pose a question. Do we have unanimous consent on what Mr. Lawton is proposing? Yes. No. Okay. All right. Okay, thank you. So I will now start a new speaking list on the sub-amendment proposed by Mr. Lawton. Yeah.
Monsieur le Président.
Yeah, hold on one second.
Mr. Chair? Yes, Mr. Fortin. I just want to be sure that we're all talking about the same thing. So there was the proposed amendment 8.1, and for 8.1 there was a sub-amendment that was presented by Mr. Brock, and that has been set aside, it's parked, and now we are discussing Ms. Latanzio's proposed amendment to add clause 11.1 and the sub-amendment of the Conservatives that is to strike out part of that. Is that what I've understood? So, given that there is no agreement on Ms. Latanzio's amendment, shouldn't we go back to 8.1 and the sub-amendment proposed by Mr. Brock?
In terms of where we are in the proceedings, but we have to, if there is debate on the sub-amendment, we'll hear it and then vote on it, and then we'd have to continue the debate on the proposed amendment, whether it's amended or not, and then vote on that before we can go back. So that's where we are. So does anybody, Mr. Brock, you had your hand up, but this is on the sub-amendment? Okay. Was there anybody else?
Yeah.
Mr. Housefather, Mr. Barber, you're nodding.
I'm already on there.
You're already on there. Okay. All right. Good. Okay, Mr. Brock.
Thank you, Chair. I want to acknowledge that it's 5:15. This meeting started at 4:30. For Canadians who are most definitely following this discussion, this debate, we owe it to them to explain what transpired. And what transpired has been partly put on the record, but there's other aspects to it that require clarification, Mr. Chair. So following the meeting on Monday, I'm aware that the Justice Minister, Sean Fraser, did an interview with iPolitics, and the headline reads, "Fraser says Liberals hopeful of a compromise with Conservatives on C9, but won't wait forever." And that's followed by a direct quote from the minister that reads, "We won't let perfection be the enemy of progress for much longer." I'm not reading the entire article, but certainly some portions of it. Justice Minister Sean Fraser is refusing to close the door on negotiations with the Conservatives on changes to the government's anti-hate bill, but acknowledges he'll eventually move ahead with the legislation if no agreement can be reached. At Justice Committee on Monday, the Liberals proposed changes, which is the Lattanzio Amendment, to a contentious amendment to Bill C-9 that removes the religious beliefs exemption for the crime of inciting hate. The Liberals said they were looking to clarify that Parliament wasn't intending to criminalize religious speech, but the Conservatives argued what was being proposed didn't address real concerns from faith communities. Speaking to reporters before Tuesday's cabinet meeting, Fraser said he's still hopeful the Conservatives can be brought on board and urged members of the committee to find a compromise. It is within that spirit that we took a look, the Conservatives took a real hard look at Ms. Lattanzio's amendment with Mr.
Oh, yeah.
You should do exercises. That's important to our good health. And friends, tomorrow we are going to be visiting with a fisherman who will tell us about his very enjoyable hobby. Now, I would like to see you all through our magic mirror. Romper bumper,